Hello, this is Corey the Keyblade Wielder. We're back for a new commentary. Disney versus non-Disney Villains War is my favorite, while the other ones like Disney Villains War and Disney versus Anime Villains are okay in my opinion. But this one is also my second favorite, right after Disney versus non-Disney Villains. Non-Disney Villains Tournament by Sony Hedo 21. So let's get it started. First fight, Necron versus Rasputin. In the description, that Rasputin, hailing from Russia, well, after he was banished from the Romanovs, decides to forge an alliance with Necron to be his advisor. But of course, Necron mocks him and refuses him. And now a fight between Rasputin and Necron have begun. Sure, it's a wise choice to mock Rasputin. I mean, Rasputin's basically one of those the powerful non-Disney villains. Heck, he's even one of the most popular non-Disney villains. He's basically the Jafar of the non-Disney villains. And Necron wins. But Rasputin will probably be back. Next fight, Zigzag versus Ramesses, or accurately, Zigzag versus Hotep and Hoi. In the description, that Zigzag wants Ramesses to forge an alliance with the One-Eye Army. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting fight. It's basically that fight between two advisors. Ramesses asks Hotep and Hoi orders them to give them their answer. I actually like this fight. I mean, the non-Disney villains aren't as complex as the Disney villains, but actually the non-Disney villains have a lot of complex, and there is something useful to them. Aw, poor birdie on fire. Battle between magicians. I mean, if you study the Bible or ancient history, the priestess do perform like magic and stuff. Oh, of course, Zigzag is now lost, and Hotep and Hoi and Ramesses win. Now they're not going to join. Next fight up, Vlad Plasmius versus Zelda. Interesting using Vlad in this round first. I mean, I thought it'd be like in Disney Villains War, where you only use movie villains first, and then in round 3 you use the TV villains, like Disney versus Disney Villains War. But no, you just straight up use TV villains. And one thing that still bothers me is that they say he has ghost powers. I know I complained about that in Disney versus non-Disney villains, but what does that even mean? Ghost powers? I mean, when I think of a ghost, I think of an undead person who goes around hunting people. I mean, is that what he does? He's good at haunting people? I never heard of that. Heard of a ghost that that shoots beams of energy out of their hands and stuff. But sorry, I've been rambling. Just a little complaining. So Vlad wins. Next fight, Valmont versus Ludmilla. After hearing that Ludmilla has the talisman, Valmont and his men went to Russia to grab it from her. But it actually is a potion. How do they mistake a potion for a talisman? And of course he drank it, and I do not like Ludmilla. She is just too darn weird. Oh, poor Toru. I actually like Toru. He did reformed in the final season of 1 of Jackie Chan Avengers, and in the other series he still helps the heroes. Whoa! We must win this fight by running away! A joke by history, but 5, 3, 4, 1. wait a minute, you guys have the talisman? Or did you just sneak behind Ludmilla while you guys were talking? That would make more sense. Whoa. Timber! And Valmont and his men wins. Next fight, Dr. Greed versus Professor Screw Eyes. In the description that Greed wants Screw Eyes to have his commercial of a company for something for his circus, but Screw Eyes is disgusted by the idea. At first, I never know where Dr. Greed and his men are from, but after seeing this scene, like, oh my god! That is just graphic! Like, holy cow! Like, I didn't know what scene they were at first, but yeah, I know in the villains tournament it makes sense because the villains are cold-blooded monsters. But look, what kind of hero in the movie is doing these to these characters? Like, it's like they're being sucked into an endless pit of darkness, or AG double hockey stick itself. That's just creepy until I looked up the film from the Fearless Four. Like, oh, okay. But still creepy. And Professor Screw Eyes wins. And now to the epilogue. In the description, 3 sorcerers are in a meeting to start their plan, and also known as someone murdering other sorcerers. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Watchmen, but except with superheroes, they were evil sorcerers. Kind of. Then we have Rothbard and Lord Malice, and then this third one, I'm like, oh, who is this dude? He looks like a generic wizard, and then I realized, wait a minute! That animation style looks similar to The Hobbit, the animated Hobbit movie that I Google searched, and I thought, wow! They made an animated version of The Lord of the Rings? That, I did not know that! Okay, that was years before I got my laptop, and like, whoa! I did not know it existed. I know of the animated Hobbit, but I was unaware that there was an animated Lord of the Rings. So, wait a minute. First, the company made The Hobbit. Then, the entirely different company made The Fellowship and The Two Towers in one film. And then the company that made The Hobbit made The Return of the King? Okay, that's really surprised me. I know of the live-action films, but I never knew of the animated one. I know they were based on novels, but I never read the novels. The only thing I know of The Lord of the Rings are from the live-action films. And that's just it. So I'm guessing this is like Saruman? He looks like an evil Santa Claus. Ho, ho, ho. But wait a minute. If Saruman is here, that means that the One Ring is somewhere in the hand-drawn realm. Holy cow. You know what it would mean? That various villains are all wanting the One Ring. You have Cobra Commander, you have Ruber, you have Mach, you have the Shredder, you have Vlad, Ramesses. You have any villains that could get the One Ring. Plus, interesting using the 1980s cartoon Shredder first. Plus, he's recruited Tyler. Kind of interesting start. And of course, Thrax is recruited by Mach Swagger. Plus, if y'all want to know my opinion on rock and roll, and when I finally got the movie on for Christmas, like a couple of days ago or whatever, my opinion, rock and roll, it was decent. The concept itself was awesome. The villain was amazing. I mean, we already got how much of a badass Mock Swagger is from the tournaments themselves. Especially with the sound bits. And I've seen so many scenes that surprisingly no one has used that show how much of a villain Mock truly is. Like, there's a scene where the girl he kidnaps tries to seduce him in hopes of talking him out of using his evil plan, and when he realized what she's doing, he just snapped. It's one of those classic refined gentleman villains snapping and showing their true inner demons. And they even directly stated that when he finally calms down, he's like, I'm sorry that I snapped like that, but I'm sorry, but she just pissed me off. And I love that scene because it shows how much of a villain he truly is. The one perfect example of a classy villain that sometimes would snap and show their inner demons. And that's awesome. And what the hey? What's going on? Oh god, no, this dude. I really hate that guy. Prince Throglip. I'm sorry, but that dude is just so darn stupid, so annoying, so idiotic, and I just hate him. In fact, I think my iPad did it on purpose, like, nope, Prince Throglip, you are too horrible of a villain, we are not to show your image. Ganarga's okay-ish, I guess we can deal with her. And Zigzag informs King One-Eye about Ramesses' refusal, and now a war between King One-Eye and Ramesses have begun. Cool. And Professor Screw-Eyes meets the entity he inspires so dearly, the Nightmare King. Epic. So yeah, that was the non-Disney Villains Tournament Round 1. Pretty epic so far, and I hope we'll get more to this. This is Corey the Keyblade Wielder. May your heart be your guiding key. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe.